What's wrong with today?
If we don't give you a heads up that we're going to do it, then I have to spend the next 3 minutes sending you all new email links to like join this podcast because both of us hit it at the same time and one of us kills it. So there we go.
There we go.
Holy fucking Roundtable back, man. I'm glad I made some more
man, Bonds, what's going on?
Sweet Jesus, this is a power panel.
I know. Right. I missed you this weekend. I wish I could have made it, but it was awesome, I'm sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was a blast.
All right, so I think like we basically just got to kick EOS USA off here, and then we'll be good. I'm totally kidding, dude. I haven't had enough coffee to be funny yet this morning. If I ever do, I don't.
Probably. Check out Jimmy. I'm used to him having like his whole house behind him.
He's on vacation. He's sitting on a balcony next to the ocean in Okinawa. Like
this is the most relaxed I've ever seen him.
It's true.
I am.
Yeah. Jimmy looks legit chill.
I joined one of y'all's calls from a similar view at the beach. We just love you guys.
The most stress in my life right now comes from bonds because I got these little things for bonds that I was going to send them in the mail. And like I didn't have time to send them before I went on vacation, so I brought them with me. But now every time I change hotels, I have to pack these freaking things up because I can't find a post office in Okinawa. So
you're literally traveling the world with all those little toys.
Yeah, it's just for you, buddy.
Oh man, I appreciate it, bro. That's gonna make them all the more special.
Right.
Hilarious.
I'm gonna share this sucker out.
We're here to talk about.
We're live now.
We're here to talk about DeFi and NFTs and these two emerging trends, which all of you are, somewhat involved with. We got a pretty awesome power panel. TC, who, if you haven't figured out, is like a baller behind the scenes. We're trying to put him out there as much as we can. Michael USA, EOS USA, who's no stranger to our channel. Martin Bullshipples, who was on here, I think 1 or 2 roundtables ago, and also been doing a lot of really cool stuff with the NFTs. Nick Custers, who pretty much builds everything that nobody else builds because they don't have time, which is pretty awesome.
Super genius.
Rick Courier of Metaforce and Green Rabbit, which is a kind of new like staking gamification platform. They're doing some really interesting things. And of course, Bonds, who's been in the NFT game probably longer than any of us, way back from the Wax Prospectors days, Our Planet days, just kind of all over. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Might have a couple, 1 or 2 more guests drop in. But yeah, how are you guys?
Good.
Excellent.
Doing good.
I mean, this is one of those ones where like we look back 5 years from now and like TC owns a small country. USA like this is like mining 10% of all Bitcoin now, right?
We might already be doing that.
It's very true. Assuming that you're not, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm having like a fanboy moment here.
We'll let you soak it all in.
Thanks. Yeah, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm just gonna like cry, maybe. I don't know.
The word of the day is epic.
Right?
I know. I've been using that a lot. I retweeted your post about epic because there is some pretty epic things happening. So. Who do we start with? Bonds. Let's start with you because it's been a while since we've talked. What's going on in the NFT space where you're at, and the deification of everything that was noble before?
Yeah,
that's like every once in a while he tries to say. Yeah, every once in a while Jimmy tries to say caveat, and it comes like
there is a lot of shit in the space. I really agree.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of defecation, but yeah, for me, man, there's a lot going on. Of course, prospectors, we're doing our big like land sales over this week. This is the first time that we've made the entire map into each plot of land is an NFT. So you own it, and you own all the minerals that are on it. There's no more rent, which is kind of a big deal. This is kind of like the accumulation of the years worth of beta testing and the multiple maps we've launched across multiple blockchains. And yeah, it's all kind of pulling together to this grand land. which actually there's a sale tomorrow. There's another. The main sale is next week. And
somebody's excited about that sale.
yeah, kids love it. Everyone loves it. But yeah, that's Prospector's been busy with Prospector's been working on some other stuff with Crypto Lions as well. And yeah, the staking for Coin Pirates is now live. I know you guys wanted to talk about some cool staking projects, and yeah.
Are you involved with Coin Pirates as well?
What's that?
Are you involved with Coin Pirates as well?
Well, yeah. So we built their staking contract. Yeah, Crypto Lions built their staking contract. So for anybody who doesn't know, I also work with.
I have like a Coin Pirate pack that I can't open. Can I open that yet?
Oh, so check it out. So here's the deal. I had one too. I had this. It was the same thing. So I didn't realize this. They did a I didn't actually find out about this till later, but they had sold their packs, and then there was some sort of like issue with the art, and they had to basically like swap packs. So like if you log on and check the go into Atomic and then check your trade. There's like a tab for like trade offers. Check that. There's going to be a trade offer for another pack. They're going to swap out your original pack with you, and then you can open it and you can stake those. They had some kind of problem with their art. I think it was like there was some kind of claim on the copyright on some art that they used that they had to basically swap out. But yeah, those are cool guys. They're out of Kiev in Ukraine actually. But yeah, so they know some of the Crypto Lions guys, and that's kind of how we got linked up with them. And yeah, their staking is now live, and I know you can stake. Oh, Corey, you're going to be stoked on this. They're now, or they've always been staking Colobox. I know you're a big Colobox guy, and it's actually like the best rewards you can get right now for staking Colobox. It's higher than yeah.
Who is this? Coin Pirates. Sorry,
yes, yeah. So go stake your Colobox if you have any on Coin Pirates.
I mean, okay.
I mean,
just four types though, right? They have like it's all in a theme. So there are 4 Colobox prizes that fit a pirate theme, and those are the ones you can stake, like the pirate ship, the cannon, the diamond, and the treasure chest.
I mean, that does make sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick, for coming in on that with that. Now,
no
of course, Nick knows the whole lowdown on the whole thing.
Right? Yeah, everyone's super shocked.
Yeah, and they also have some Our Planet NFTs that you can stake, but I don't think those are right yet. Like I think Aether is still worth it more. But
that makes sense.
It's nice that they try, because like Our Planet started this whole thing, right? Taking from other projects, letting you stake it. It's nice to see others do it. In their own way, right? It's not a complete copy of how Our Planet did it, but they're like, okay, we can make this fit, take some of the good ideas, but do it our way. And I like that better than just a straight up copy. Like, let's do something that worked before. I like it when people put their own spin on it.
It really was a game changer to be able to stake NFTs. I mean, like, you have a good point there.
Corey called it early on. I mean, right from the very beginning, I think before the generator even launched, you guys had me on and we were talking about this as a genre, and I think Corey was one of the earliest to just say this is going to be a thing. And now, less than a year later, we see, I can't even count all the different projects that are implementing some sort of staking mechanism.
It's a lot, and it's funny too, because I started went from my love affair, which is ongoing, god damn it, with Our Planet, and going into DeFi and checking out all the stuff that's going on with PancakeSwap, which of course some stuff that I'm fascinated with now for a little side project we have cooking. But it really, like, it's not different, right? Like all these different pools that we're gonna have in Uplift World, like people are epically slowly starting to figure out that going into pools dynamically is an important thing. But now all these different games are kind of that, right? And Recurring and I actually had a show. We weren't intending to talk about all this stuff until today, but then we just did anyway. So which was really fun. But we're gonna start to see a lot more of this, multi-project staking capacity, where if it's not custodial, you could potentially be earning for 2. Of course, like Yoshi and Uplift have that going on, and it's not gonna be the only ones. But then if it's, you're looking at different possibilities where, if it is custodial, then you can only do one at a time, and which one do you want to do? Which leads right to the question, right? Like, I've got probably a mountain of Callabach shit somewhere, and I'm just like, cool, I got nothing to do with it. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah. But that's also like an interesting dynamic, right?
Right.
You guys all know Anders. He has his slices.
Yep.
They are stakeable on our planet. And he has this thing where he takes a snapshot of who owns it in their wallet and then sends out a bunch of NFTs as a thank you. Yep. So what he usually does is like, okay, I'll give a heads up a few days in advance. If you have them in your wallet, you get the airdrop. But if you leave them on our planet, you don't get them. And he has the technical capabilities to like look who has it on our planet. But he's like, I like this element of it to make a conscious decision. Yep. Of what do I do with my NFTs? Do I leave them staked or not? And that's also the reason why he was really happy to collaborate with Wax Arena, because that's another choice you can make, right? Yeah. You can leave his stuff in your wallet and you'll get points on Wax Arena, or you can stake it to our planet and get Aether. And it's kind of nice to see all these variations pop up. But the fact that those variations exist and that everybody is copying is just an indication that, well, it's something that really works well. Like all the avatar projects, once something blows up, you'll see copies, and that's just an indication that you did something very right.
Yep. I'm way more excited, a little biased, but I'm way more excited about the NFT staking in the games than I am about avatar projects, because all of our ecosystems can have the opportunity to interact. Right. Whereas the avatar projects, like they might, find out how to put like, I don't know, a fucking penguin on a monkey or something, but it doesn't mean anything. Right. I don't know. Yeah, granted, like, am I biased? 100%, like totally. But that, like, if it doesn't have any kind of functionality, like if I can't buy a thing that's going to spit out another thing, I don't want it. I'm a degen. That's how it works.
But like game assets, sorry.
I think having more than one option ultimately will strengthen the whole space, because our planet was the only game in town for a long time, and that was awesome. They innovated and they brought this new thing, but then too much of it, what we saw happening, and I definitely saw this in Metaforce, is everybody would stake right into there, and then for actual collectors, there was no liquidity, in a sense, on the market. People had a really hard time doing the actual trading and stuff to finish up their collections and different things like that. And I think as there become more options, not only will, like, as people take stuff out of our planet and the way their pools work, that'll mean the people that stay in there will have a little bit more Ether for themselves. And then it ends up almost being like arbitrage across the whole platform.
Yep.
And then everybody has the opportunity to make their own decisions and make their, like, what's best for them. And it also adds a little bit of, collectible liquidity back in the market, so people can now buy and trade and sell, because it added so much value to collectibles, but then they were only valued for their staking value, and having the broader plane of different stakeable things, it allows the collectibles, which are also still an important part, and the gameplay NFTs, which are also still an important part of the Wax ecosystem, to find their own price and not be pegged to a staking value, which I think is the most healthy thing.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I know on one of them, I don't remember which collection it was, but I was buying some cards, and the number one mint of the card was mixed in amongst all the other just regular cards. I mean, there was no collector value to it. It was solely priced off of its ROI.
But that's because there was so much value in the Aether that was being generated that anything that released had a floor price of like 2.2 to 2.5 times the Aether generation. That was the base price in Wax. Because if you would put anything on the market for sale below that, anybody that plays our planet would just scoop it up because it's a great deal. So that, because it was so hyped up and so everybody wanted it, it set a floor price. And you can talk to people that launch collections during that time. When stake, it's a big meme, but it's like, yeah, people really weren't happy about that because all people care about was the Ether value that it was generating. And sure, it comes with a lot of cash flow, right? But it's two-sided. You made something that you're proud of and you want to share with the people, and you don't want them to just want it because it generates a lot of Ether. So it's something that will balance out. But it's a tough one.
Yeah,
because I try to put myself in that same position. Like if I had a collection, yeah, of course I would want to have it staked on our planet because it would guarantee that you don't have to struggle to sell your stuff, right? But on the other hand, it's like, let's say you run a giveaway where people have to follow and retweet. You get a bunch of followers, but what are they worth, right? When it goes away, what is your collection then worth, right? If the Our Planet staking would stop for all these collections that are out there, what would happen to them? I would be really interested to see, because there are a few that really have like the strong collector base, like the ultra rares and even Anders. I think it would drop off a lot with the slices, but he really has a tight following that will still buy his stuff. But there are some collections out there that I'm sure would take a very, very big hit.
So I can kind of speak to that. I sit in kind of a weird place because I'm a founder for Metaphor, so I have a collection that was stakeable for our first drop, and now I'm working on Green Rabbit, so I'm on the staking game side of it, and I get to see it from both sides, which I like very much. With our first drop, we were super excited to be listed on Our Planet, and we made the Our Planet announcement. It was all official right before the drop. And as collection owners, we just thought, this is great. This is a great thing for our community. It's an added bonus for our community, et cetera, et cetera. We never really understood the potential downside. And what happened is we sold out in seconds, which was awesome. We were really happy about it. But then a significant part of people who were buying it were just buying it because they knew it was going to be on Our Planet. And then as soon as you could stake, like the entire collection more or less dried up. There was very, very little that was happening. Our crafting program almost came to a halt. Like it really, from the collection owner standpoint, it made it very difficult for the dynamics that we spent a lot of time designing and working on to function the way we wanted them to. So then we had to go back and say, okay, well, how do we incentivize getting those things out of Our Planet and doing the actual collecting and incentivize people to finish their collections and stuff like that. And we had a little bit of luck with that, but really that didn't happen really well until after the Ether price came back down. And, you know, whether we say the Ether price now is at a healthy level or it was too high then, or whether we say that the Ether price was right and healthy then and it's at an unhealthy level, that's very subjective opinion, right? But it definitely, you could see as a collection owner the massive difference in what you could do before and now. Now there are cards on the market. People can get what they need to get for crafting, but man, it really caught us off guard. So now for our next drop, which is tomorrow, the comic drop, we're going with a whitelist. We based our whitelist heavily on the people that were doing actions that required them to have the cards out unstaked, people who did crafting, earned a certain amount of crafting points, people who have been in our weekly different events and stuff that we're doing, the people that have been actively engaged with the collection to the best way that we could determine, all got whitelisted for the pre-sale. And then as soon as that whitelisting sticker comes out, right, then people are like, why I need to be on the whitelist? Why am I not whitelisted? Look at what I own. And I did have a conversation with somebody yesterday, and he's like, look, I own all of this stuff. Why am I not on the whitelist? And I looked, he bought packs, opened the packs, staked them, and then he took them out for the first time since May just to take that screenshot and show me. And I don't know that he knew that I could go through, but I went through and clicked on every one of his assets. And I was like, you don't have a single asset from our collection that hasn't been staked for 3 months. You've never been in our Discord once before. Like, sorry, I don't want to be rude, but you're specifically the person we're trying to avoid whitelisting.
But given the situation, right, with our planet and the staking and the things that you want to do as a collection, don't you think it would make sense to instead try to fight it, to maybe just build a solution that would incorporate the staked ones and build on from there, and then slowly move to a system where it needs to be unstaked, but maybe try to get the community more going first?
Yeah, you know I mean, I think that's great. But at the time we did our first drop, we didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
So we had been working on all of our crafting and all of those mechanisms for months, and exactly what we wanted it to do. And we didn't predict that it was going to work out that way. Now that we have that experience, you know, we're like this next pack drop, we said, sure, they'll be stakeable, but there's going to be a 1 month window in which we're not going to submit to bonds, really, our paperwork to make the new stuff stakeable. And they're going to need to go through a period of market liquidity where people can make their collections. And then a month after our drop, then we can say, like, okay, now the market has calmed down. And if we see the market is still popping and we feel like staking is going to, you know, be detrimental, we just continue to hold off until we feel like it's the right time. And that's a lesson learned from the first one. But
because
then
because Metaphors was brand new to people. You still need to build that community. So
yes,
I think I would try to, especially at the beginning, I would try to take away as much hurdles as possible there.
Yeah,
I totally understand.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Go ahead.
Is it possible that I don't know if it's possible, but is it possible that bonds can make everything viewable, like Uplift? You know, all their stuff is viewable but still stakeable, right?
They've got tools to do that now anyway, right? Like Ben,
yeah,
NFT Hive, like that's
turn it on so
if you want to do it, you can figure it out.
Yeah, it's technically possible already, but it takes some skill. Also, just a little bit of heads up about getting your stuff added to Our Planet Staking. It might take a while. So if you submit it now, it might be like 1, 2, or 3 months before it actually goes live. At least that's the experience that I have with like Anders. I think there's like stuff from 3 months ago that's still not been added to the stakeable things yet.
Are you saying, Bonds, are you saying like you guys are busy at Our Planet? Like what? What?
There's been a list of like 300 people waiting since like the day that we opened. That I mean, I hate to almost like let them know, but yeah, there's no way 99% of them will ever be added. It's like we had said basically a while ago that we weren't adding any more projects until the community voting basically was live, and at this point that's like 5 things down the roadmap. So it's like. And I think that as of this point too, I mean, I think that especially if you spend 5 minutes in any of our chats, you'll see, I think pretty much like the amount of inflation right now is out of balance with the amount of sinks that people can actually spend the Ether on, and because of the you know, difficulty in actually inventing, and because there's only 600 NFTs, like a lot of people are now just kind of like waiting for the next phase of the game. And so yeah, there's not a lot of reason to just be adding more projects right now until
to be fair, I was talking about amending an existing pool, so not adding to the pool, just adding more stakeable within the pool.
Oh, yeah, I mean that's possible for sure. I mean, if it was important to do, it could be done, you know.
Now I was just trying to give a little heads up that he said like, yeah, the plan to have it for a month and then make it stakeable, but I'm trying to tell him that might become 6 months or
well, I think that,
and that's,
correct me if I'm wrong, Recurrier. I think that Recurrier was talking about staking on, you guys are going to be staking those on Green Rabbit, or on your other site, right? Green Rabbit.
Well, so we would eventually, yes, Metaphors is going to be on Green Rabbit. We are intentionally not going first because, you know, when Envenom and I spoke about it, we really thought it would be incorrect for Metaforce to go first just because we're on the team, because we're like cutting the line. So we made the decision that there are going to be some projects that go on Green Rabbit specifically before Metaforce, so that it generates a very fair and realistic, Green Rabbit working with that third party dynamic. And for some parts of that, there is a wall up for me and the other Metaforce people, so that we don't see that. And that's very intentional for us to try the best we can to make it fair. So there's other people on the Green Rabbit team that are working with other partner projects. And once that's sorted out and that methodology is figured out, then Metaforce will come in and do that. And we thought that was the most fair thing for the community. As for the staking on our planet, we're going to wait a month before we even apply to have anything added to the collection. And then if our planet says, okay, it's going to take 4 more months to get it added, fine by us. Like, no big deal. Our pool is going to be our pool. We have the same our planet pool no matter what happens. So if more things get stakeable on our planet, it'll just, in a sense, dilute the stuff that's on there now. So I'm in no rush. I don't see it as bad or good. I just said, we want to have a minimum of a month with that market liquidity, and then whatever it takes after that, it'll be what it'll be. The Green Rabbit staking is an interesting setup because it's actually a hybrid of custodial and non-custodial staking. So the way it works is we have these USB flash drives that you have to plug in, and there's a fairly complex backstory that ties into the story, and you're hacking into, the bad guys' mainframe, whatever. So you plug the USBs in, and they have a certain size, and you can only stake so much to that USB. So those USBs are held in a custodial staking contract, and then you stake your NFTs to them, and those are not held in a custodial. That's a non-custodial. So they stay in your wallet. And a lot of this is like, we spent a lot of time trying to design, how do we create something that ties in with the story, makes sense, feels like it makes sense to a gamer, and has interesting gaming dynamic for a gamer that they'll appreciate, while at the same time, if somebody's just trying to put a minimal effort in and just stake and has no interest in the gameplay and wants to multi-account it, it creates a whole bunch of friction for them to like be staking and unstaking, moving from this account, moving from that account. And so that was like the sweet spot that we were trying to hit. We've gotten some very positive feedback about it, but there's also things that, can be improved upon. And, we would not have thought of any of that if we hadn't had the experience of being in the community, staking to different platforms and all of that stuff. And I think it's very important to note that, like, all of these platforms owe our planet a debt of gratitude, because they went out first. They stuck their neck out first. And, Bonds will be the first one to tell you that, like, hey, we tried some stuff, and some stuff worked out awesome, and some stuff had room to work out differently, better, whatever. But none of us would be here today having this conversation on this roundtable if they hadn't just said, like, well, screw it, we're going for it and do it. It's
not only that, like, all the value that gets locked up in the contract. I don't know if I would even take on that liability myself.
Yeah. So
really,
and I think I really think that, it's just like anything in the crypto space. We're all going to grow. Our planet is they've added another layer of complexity to it with the land and being able to burn the fungible tokens, and now you're upgrading your land. And there's a lot of stuff there that is really interesting, that is starting to move beyond the like just the one dynamic that was there. And as their game grows, that's going to get better. And as all of these staking games begin to work, they're all going to figure out their different angles, and they're all the end users are going to have so much more options. And that, I think, is going to help stabilize things. And so I think it's probably our planet being an option rather than the only one there is going to help to stabilize that, as for everything else, because that's the type of landscape you want.
Well, and to that point, Recurrier,
Absolutely.
what I'm really
Well
excited
said,
to
man.
see, what I'm really excited to see is the tools evolve, because it feels like the tools are finally catching up with the ideas. And the opportunity we have in this NFT staking space is to take it beyond just passive staking, because what we've seen with crypto tokens is most of it's been passive, and it rewards whoever has the biggest pile, right? And I know that Jimmy likes to try to think of ways that we can help out the little guy. We can help out the little active guy really more so than whoever just has the biggest pile of passive tokens. And the tools that we're seeing with NFTs and with platforms like Nifty Blocks and what they're bringing in with their multi-level whitelisting, where you can take not only ownership, but activity-based whitelisting, and then what Uplift is doing with Punch Sign Get Thing, where you can combine those different factors and really reward your most active participants. I'm really excited to see the tools evolve, because it feels like we now have the tools and the platforms to really accomplish this idea. And I love what you've done there at Green Rabbit, where you've really focused on the engagement and the activity. And you're really trying to reward the people that are actively daily connected with your platform, and not just sitting on a huge pile of passive asset. And I like seeing the direction that that's going, because I feel like it opens up opportunity for all of us little guys that only have a little bit to really be on an equal playing field with whoever has the biggest pile. So
that was really the intent. Yeah, very much. It was one of the biggest driving things that we said, someone who comes to the game after launch needs to have a path to success. There needs to absolutely be a way. Like, it can't be like, I missed the drop, I'm SOL, I'm going to pass this one up. And so there needed to be that path there, and there hopefully it looks like there is. And as the space, as the game grows, we're trying to constantly, every time we think up a new dynamic, the first question is like, where's the path to success for the smaller guy? And we've got, quite a few of us that are working on the gameplay design. And I'm not going to lie, we get into really intense discussions about it. And we're like, no, that's not the way, and this is the way, and whatever. And we work all together and we come out with it. And, our hope is that by having a little bit larger group of people trying to do that design and intentionally having opposing viewpoints, we come to a solution that does represent a wider amount of the landscape, and not just like a small percentage that can be successful.
It cracks me. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Recur. Bonds, what is 3 months or more out that you're most excited about in your whole ecosystem?
In our ecosystem,
yeah.
I mean, I'm super excited. Like the more I see what's being built for this whole next phase of this game that we're building for our planet is really exciting for me. Like I see little snippets here and there. Some of it we've been showing. I did a little segment. I've been doing a little like Twitch stream AMA weekly, and I've been just like piecing out little bits here and there about like last week I did a segment like Meet the Robots, and there's a whole bunch more still to show. But yeah, it's really fun for me to see it, like to actually see now the graphics and all the actual gameplay coming together. I mean, I've known the plan, for a while now, but to actually see the visuals, it's exciting to me. It feels fun again to see like the land and what it's going to look like, and how this whole land battle conquest game is going to actually take shape. But yeah, as far as the whole space, I mean, I've been watching what Recurrier and his crew is doing over there, Green Rabbit, and of course following along with Metaphors. There's so many projects now. It's really cool to watch this whole thing unfolding. I'm super excited to be like digging into some of these other games too. Like I said, I just started staking on the Coin Pirates game, and it looks like they're building kind of a fun little game based around like pirates and like rolling around and like plundering and robbing other pirates and building up your pirate army. And it's so cool. And I know there's like tons of other ones. Nova Rally, right? There's a handful like that I'm kind of excited about. So the growth has been amazing to watch, and you can only imagine where it's going to be. Like, you imagine where we were a year ago and where we are now, and then imagine where we're going to be in another year.
I can't.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible.
I have a basic idea, but I don't know, man.
That's why I'm buying it all. I don't care.
Yeah,
that's why when you've been around,
way.
when you've been around for years and years, you're like, what are you talking about? This is like, you know, the 2 years ago, there was nothing, you know, everybody just had ideas and the tech wasn't there. I mean, it's come so far. It's amazing to see, you know, that it's finally starting to empower the people that don't have to be super nerds to be able to do things that they've always kind of wanted to do, you know, or at least engage teams to do it for you, right? I mean, hey, I want a token. I don't know how to create a token. All right, I'll create you a token.
That sounds oddly specific.
It does. It does.
I actually wanted to ask. I actually wanted to ask you, TC, because I know like you're big into collecting. Like, how do you keep up? Like the games games like Green Rabbit, like you kind of have to be active players in order to like engage. You know, Our Planet at this point is a little bit, you know, passive, but they're bringing new things in. But I know like how many things you're following, and even though you're retired, like I still don't see how you can keep up, right? Going back to what Nick was saying before, right? Like some of these projects, you have to actively unstake or bring them over to get drops or certain rewards and stuff. Like how do you possibly keep up, or don't you? Do you do it badly? I don't know.
I'm pretty much have been since April, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like I don't mess around. As soon as I get up, I'm working. I'm figuring it out. I'm trying to, you know, find all the wink winks as Corey does and everybody else. I think my biggest issue is just keeping up with the news. You know, between Telegram, Discord, it's really too much. I wish you guys could figure out one platform, either be Discord or Telegram, because I'm almost about to delete quite a few because I can't keep up to everybody because it's just too much.
Don't you get people that bring you like new stuff, because you're starting to become like a big name that you float around everywhere. You're involved everywhere. I'm sure.
Well, I want to be involved
get lots
with
of
everybody.
people. Yeah, you get lots of tags like, "Hey, check out this new project." I get that all the time. Hey, I found this new. I saw you were interested in something on BSC. Here are 3 new projects.
Yeah.
That's why you hire an NFT manager. That's what I
knew you're that dude.
I've had the exact same experience. It's impossible to keep up. I've found a couple essentially general, almost aggregator communities where everybody comes together, and then there's just a list of all the different projects, and everybody's like, oh, hey, here's the new thing that came out from this one, here's the new thing that came out from this one. And having that has been super helpful for me, because then you don't have to keep track of it all. It's like crowdsourcing information. And then one that I'm in that's nice is you can set roles to be pinged for certain projects and different stuff like that.
I want to know that program. I would even suggest, I don't know if it's possible, to do like a radio podcast, which every platform or card collection just says, hey, it was, you know, blah, 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 we're doing this, or did you know you have to do this? You know, just, it can run in the back. Just runs in the background.
I'll ask you this, is that one of the things we talked about for the NFT manager role is to like make a newsletter, and his job is to pay attention to all the projects going on and understand what's going on. And then we were like, well, what if you could turn that into an actual service, you know, a newsletter, a podcast?
Oh my God, I'd buy into that.
I was just about to say, give it a few
weeks. Make it into an
NFT
buy service. Make it into an NFT buy service. I'd buy the shit right out of
Well, that's what, you know, I mean, we've been toying around with it. Yeah. But, you know, us, we're trying to fill a void. I mean, and because I rented, like I said, I had the same thing. I was like, I'm involved with all the projects. I mean, I try to keep up with it, you know, I work 18, 7 days a week, is probably 24, but it's hard. It's really hard to do that. And I mean, you really got to kind of focus on it. And so, like I said, I got one of my guys that he's actually one of the Minecraft builders for Uplift. And
nice.
He's an ETH head and already kind of gets the whole space. And I'm like, hey, maybe we can, figure something out. And, for us in our world, it's important to try to, see who the hot projects are and what all is going on. And hey, by the way, did you know we can help you with drops? We can help you with, I'm programming some games. I've dropped out contracts. We even run 24-hour a day help desk support or player support for some games.
You could build a NFT ad. So if somebody wants to buy an ad, or say one of these guys want to do a platform, you could just say, buy this NFT and I'll give you a 5-minute whatever in this audio, whatever you're doing. I mean, I'd listen to that all day long. That would be my radio.
Yeah. Done. I'll work on it. We'll be streaming
like a membership thing. I'd pay for that.
It is funny you should mention that. We are actually cranking up a membership to kind of be in our web services and information and all of that. So
should be a whale subscription box thing where all the projects and new projects that want to launch into the big players can just send us stuff, and you just hook up all the whales with the new stuff.
Correct.
I think
that's how we feel that's important, is that once you kind of bridge that gap of being a go-to place. You know who doesn't have a product knowing about all the projects coming out? Atomic Hub. Because everybody lights them up and says, hey, can we advertise? Can we do whatever? Once they start knowing where to feed it back in, life becomes a lot easier for all of us, right? You know where you can go to look and find it. They know where they can go and look and distribute the information, So that's what we envision. Let's see if I can make it happen.
Yeah, make it an audio, please.
Make it audio. You want it as a what are the Audible books where you can run it at double speed? That's what my CEO does. He does that.
I would sleep with my earplugs in, so I wouldn't miss it even when I'm sleeping.
Just for you, I will embed llama sounds and torture you like Anders.
Oh no.
Right.
Right. Nah.
It is tough. Like the most up to date I've ever been with the EOS space and the EOS IO space was when Corey and I were doing like the 1 week like EOS IO update when we first started, and like that was like when we were like putting basically all of our time into like finding the news and this stuff, right? But now like I don't know what's going on half the time, like in our own projects sometimes, right? Like it's like there's so much stuff that's like happening, and it's just like, so I like I think it goes back to active rewards and active choices, right? Like there comes a time where you sometimes you just have to choose between what projects you can invest in and be a part of and be on top of, right? And it's sad in a way because there are so many great projects, but I like the fact that like there are options with DeFi now where I can stake NFTs and I can still support them personally, even if I am not necessarily that active in their Telegram or their chats or their community. So I don't know. To me, that's a big step forward. When was the last time I could stake a baseball card? I mean, never. So
actually, to get back to the topic of staying on top of things, there are. Do you know the CryptoPunk YouTube channel? They do something called Wax Watch. I'll drop you a link later to see.
Yeah, please.
There are a bunch of guys, and they started out making Our Planet content and some related stuff, and they're really fun, and they are part of the Wax ecosystem as well. They are involved with a lot of stuff, and you starting to see that lots of projects are starting to approach them when they have something new. So if you know like you're an authority or starting to become an authority for news on Wax, you'll see that new projects will come to you as well. So like I'll send the link later. So like CryptoPunk on YouTube. They have a series called Wax Watch, and they tell about the new stuff that they find. So that's
brilliant. I'm in.
Yeah. I'll send it to you later.
Yeah, please do.
I can drop a link in the chat, actually. Let me go find it.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm actually kind of doing the same thing. I like I was saying earlier, I started doing a Twitch stream kind of more for our planet and content on our own stuff. But then now that I've kind of bothered to figure out OBS Studio and I kind of have the streaming thing going, and there seems to be, just like we're all talking about, kind of a need for just more keeping up to date on what's happening. I'm gonna start just kind of doing some YouTube stuff myself, and just kind of keeping an eye on what's happening, and kind of doing a sort of a more of a general wax based as opposed to our project stuff. And
yeah, it's weird. It's almost like if you start a show and promote a bunch of other people, it gets you a lot of attention.
Yeah, we can all win.
Yeah,
or you guys together. Can all win, really.
Hashtag ape strong together.
That's I've
totally.
heard that so many times.
My bad.
It's true though. No, I mean rising tide lifts all ships. That's always been something that it's a lot more fun than just chilling your own shit all the time. Just and you guys.
I don't know. Everybody else's ship's rising and mine's always sinking. So
we got to talk about you more then.
Right? There you go.
We need this radio so we can talk about you more.
Yeah, sure. Trust me, I'm sure EOS USA gets talked about plenty enough. Hey, how about this? Here's the plan. If y'all ever want y'all ships to rise, just tell me. I'll go pay some bills, in crypto, which inevitably the market will rise after.
Yeah,
that.
the second you trade in any wax.
Yeah,
that's fucking funny. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So yeah, I'm excited about like the NFT, where things are going. We've been starting up and trying to build a service around collection scoring, so the idea that, people can maintain and even dynamically change, what they feel like a point system related to their collection, and then use that information. We've used it for all sorts of different, processes and information. Dashboarding, as in the collection aspect. Hey, mine's bigger than yours. Also, knowing who your collectors are, or collectors of particular, card types, and you can kind of run different campaigns across different ones. And we've done airdrops. I've seen people drop sets of cards on other people that complete their sets of cards, that really trying to kind of compound and reward the people that have their, support the collection, and also remove anybody that doesn't need to be rewarded. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. So.
But it's also like all the projects that you do with the AW Butler. It's like it's revitalizing Alien Worlds, because the general feeling about Alien World hasn't been that great the last few months, right? Plagued with lots of issues, delays, stuff like that. But you see that people get really excited when there's like an event when they can score some ultra rare or crypto monkeys, or right. It gets all the people that were like, okay, I'm done with this, till they change stuff and I want to go back. They go back to mine just to score those connections. So
yeah, it's
just
cool.
Like our planet did like revitalize Coloborg and a lot of other projects. It's cool to see like an external project do something for it's just really nice to see.
One of those features that I'd always said, years ago, whenever NFTs, and gaming and collection, is that, when you buy a gun in Call of Duty or CSGO or something like that, it's in those games, right? I mean, you can't take said gun and go over and do another shooting game, or even some other random whatever, much less the whole market aspect. But one, it bridged all those assets into being, individualized assets, which then would allow this project to work with this project. The example I always said was, you've got this, well, and I'll use Coin Pirates. You've got this pirate game over here that's got all these pirates and cannons and ships and stuff like that. And then you've got this other game that's spaceships and, alien, all sorts of things. What if somebody, partnered together and said, okay, now your pirates can battle your spaceships, right? I mean, you could really abstract, but you allowed the assets to break away from their original bubbles
But that's the cool thing about NFTs, right? Because you can take it out of context, look at it individually, and get new ideas. Because that's like when people started saying, well, all the cola box are dying. We have so many of them. What to do with them? Prices tanked. I was like, okay, I need to make like a battle royale game where you send 100 of your cola box into battle against other people and just like slaughter masses of cola box. So like
that's what we did. We did a volcano over on Alien Worlds, and I need to crank it back up because the volcano sacrifices stopped once Bond started paying people to stake them, you know. But now that they don't, you know, they're much more abundant. But same type of thing was that, you know, well, what do you do with these cards? I mean, you kind of have to have abundance and lots of whatever if you want to keep, you know, the rarity in check. So, well, what the hell do you do with them? You know, people were just throwing them, I mean, burning them. I was giving them to Corey thousands at a time, you know.
But you should turn that into like a meta game. So like everyone that you get like a small chance to earn another NFT and make something.
Well, that's what we did. We did a raffle out of it. But yeah, I mean, that was the same concept, was another way of it's an asset. All right. I mean, what can you do with that asset? You know, oh, they're, you know, people, little characters in a game. Push them into a volcano, have a chance at a raffle. Why not?
A lot of volcanoes in your stories, man.
that was one of the original, like I say, kind of side games. Was that? And I mean, El Cheapo. I mean, it was, you know, a stupid little script, but that was kind of the general concept. Was, you know, a little mini game and something to do with, you know, all this shit.
Hey. It's quick. Shout out to Sammy Snake. Next time we do this, Nova Rally. Somebody commented above. Nova Rally should have been here. They totally should have been. Our bad. Sammy Snake. We'll make sure you're here next time. We freaking love your face.
Yeah, for sure.
The cool thing said, like, I have this NFT. What I'm going to do with it? Well, whatever you want, because it's yours. That's the cool thing, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool seeing the collab culture start to invade this cross-collection idea, because we've talked about cross-chain for a long time. What I see is pretty new is this cross-collection idea where, you know, again, like the tools that are catching up with the ideas with Nifty Blocks and their Super Blender, being able to come in and do cross-collection blends where not only can NFTs exist with different functionality that can have cross-functionality to different games, but what if you could take those NFTs and blend them together and end up with collab NFTs? And I'm really excited to see what happens with that, because I believe that whole genre of NFTs that are collab, you know, cross platform, cross game collabs, I think that will end up being what people start to see as significantly valuable, because then it removes a lot of the question, right? Of, well, this works over here and this works over here, but do they cross? You know, if you can create a whole new genre of NFTs that are branded as collabs and as cross collection, I think people are going to really enjoy seeing the merging of those worlds. You know, Bonds and Recurring, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. You know, when are we going to have a robot and a green rabbit on the same NFT? I mean, because that would be friggin' cool. I'm just going to say it.
So it's kind of interesting that you ask, because we actually have a dedicated, Metaforce has a dedicated comic line for collaborations. Now, our first one, we call it lore stories. The first one we used kind of as a platform test, and we just did the backstories of the Metaforce characters. But we're in talks with a bunch of collaborations, and we are going to be putting out comic books for other collections where we take their art, put it into a comic book, and then have some story or some backstory or something about, you know, how they came to be or something like that. And then each collection that we collaborate with will have a comic book on our platform, and you can read it. You know, it'll be a page turner and all of that. And that's a dedicated series for us. And then Metaforce is going to be its own dedicated series. And then we're going to add additional series as time goes on, additional characters, just like, you know, the bigger brands where they have all these different series. And then those different series will have maybe little crossovers and different stuff. You'll see in our first issue, which comes out tomorrow, that issue has a lot of references to the EOS game Upland. And as Metaforce works through their storyline, each issue is going to have references to other metaverses and stuff like that, with the idea that the Metaforce team is actually traveling through these. So they fight a bad guy in Upland, and then they fight a bad guy in the Our Planet realm, and then they fight a bad guy in the Alien Worlds realm. So those two series are both designed with different levels of collaboration. One is more of a, we're incorporating it into the story, it's a nod, and the other one's a very specific collaboration tool.
Yep, and I think speaking of collaboration, I may be wrong, but the Our Planet, which one was first? Swineland, Uplift. That might be the first one I know of where the single NFT was usable in both games, and even had, you know, that mutable attribute aspect, which is a little confusing sometimes. But I don't. Were there any others? Is that the first? I at least give a little credit on that, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right. That was definitely the first, and it is pretty big deal to think about. You have an NFT. Even the fact that we're earning from NFTs in the first place is next level, right? But then now we with that collaboration with Uplift, literally that piece of land is like the one NFT representing land in two completely different, you know, games, metaverse, whatever, where both of them can theoretically be earning you passive income,
Correct.
right? Like,
well, it's not even passive income. I mean, the gameplay aspect of it. You know, it's one thing to say you have an asset, you know, and I like your guys' idea of token distribution, right? I mean, it was a good way of, all right, at least these are community members and they're involved with somebody, you know, I mean, there's benefit and idea behind distributing tokens, but more gameplay, right? And I mean, Our Planet, you know, it's developing it around their lands, but it's a land in this game, and it's also a land in another game. And when you log into both, they both recognize the asset and use them respectively for their own
and not
gameplay
only that,
purposes.
Like you think about how dynamic this like the fact that you could be building on each thing. So you could have upgraded your Our Planet land to level 100, right? So now it's producing X amount of minerals, which have a value. And then you could also have built up that land in the Uplift to have some crazy gigantic build on it, right? And that makes each land on each game be totally specific, you know, unique, really, right? And so it's like, really, when you look at the value of all these lands, they really are very unique. Someone could build up their land by upgrading it in Our Planet site by, you know, building the FTs and upgrading your land, and that makes it increase, you know, that increases the value of it. Or you could be you know, building up some really cool thing in the Uplift and decide, you know, you want to make that increase its value that way, you know, and it is really cool.
While it's cool, it's also a bit of an issue, right? Because the marketplaces are not equipped to handle stuff like that.
That's all I was going to say. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
That's why those were the quirks that came out with it. Even just knowing, is it upgraded or not, you know, which is, at least you could see it on the attribute. But then there's a whole Minecraft, you know, world sitting on top of it. And I mean, I think I saw somebody that bought a land or something, and it looked completely, you know, untouched, and he said he went like a couple blocks deep and they just strip mined the whole thing, you know. And it's like, how do you even know that? And I think Uplift, you guys are working on doing something, you know, the surveys or whatever.
Yeah, there's gonna be a feature where you'll be able to buy a survey.
So I mean, obviously, you know, I mean,
you can always go there first. I'm just saying.
But like, ideally,
but it's tough on the market. You can't go there. You know, I mean, you have to really.
You can get the coordinates on the thing. You could actually go there and look at it.
I get
that. I mean, that's a lot of time. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of time.
But I think mutable data is not something that the marketplaces are equipped to handle well. So like, there are multiple games that have this issue. There is one game that actually solved it by making sure, like Metal War. Do you know the game? I know Michael knows it.
Yeah, I gotta talk to those guys. I have not in there yet.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with Troubleshooter. That's the guy you want to know. What they actually do is, to use their units, you have to put it into the game, so you send it to their contract. But you can only pull it out of the game once it is fully rested and healed. So you can use that in-game, but you can't pull it out until it's fully like reset to its base. So if you see a unit on the marketplace, you know that it's all right and not messed with.
I think
when you look at a game like
Farmers World
Alien-
did the same thing. You can't, you have to stake it to use the tool, and then you can't withdraw it until you fully repair it, and then it's at least.
They changed
charged.
something later and messed that up, but that has been gone as well. But there's like games like Alien Ships where you have a hangar that you can use every 8 hours. But if you buy it, you have no clue what its resting time is. You can buy one that's ready to go, or you can buy one and you have to wait 8 hours.
Yeah,
that was the
Hey.
like the same.
Sorry, Nick. Guys, I'm really sorry. I gotta go because we're dropping this Leia artist tomorrow, so I gotta run. Do you guys want to keep like just talking, or do you guys want to come watch that next show? It's up to you guys. We can close this down, or I can just let you guys rock and roll.
I think we can stop because if we keep talking, we'll be here tomorrow morning.
I was about to say, I would love to keep talking, but I know all of us are like, I spent 3 hours this morning chasing a comma, a single comma. Swear to it. That's what broke Butler yesterday. I'm feeding in all these gray lists and all of that, and somebody put a comma instead of a period in a WAM address.
Oh, Rex
broke everything.
Nuclearly exploded my stuff.
You owe me 40 NFTs, buddy.
Right. All right. Okay, guys, let's do a whole big chop. 3, 2, 1, chop. 3, 2, 1, chop. We're terrible at this.